This is my initial post for week 5 of History 701. This week I was successful in utilizing America History and Life with full text database on the library's website. I was able to locate 3 different resources that focused on state suffrage mobilization and their contribution to a national amendment being added to the Constitution. The first document I analyzed was This Is the Hour, the Final Push for a Federal Amendment by Elizabeth DeBrule. This article addresses the push for a national amendment, but the author also confronts the importance of state organizations in establishing the momentum for federal fights for an amendment being added to the Constitution. DeBrule discusses the development of more militant suffragist tactics, like those that Alice Paul had learned while she was abroad in Great Britain under Emmeline Pankhurst. And these were the final steps that ultimately led to an achievement of a congressional approval. The next article I analyzed was The Stuff of Suffrage, selected ephemera from the women's suffrage movement by Cody Dodge Ewert. The author provides a brief introduction to the suffrage movement in the years that followed the Civil War, so in the Reconstruction era. Ewert addresses the successes for women's rights in the Western territories and how these victories provided positive outlooks on suffragists and the movement in general. The remainder of the source provides several primary sources from the time period, ranging from posters, magazines, covers, and picket signs that provided such a positive outlook and support for the movement and the suffragists. The author concludes that these forms of media contributed to an optimistic outlook in the East and in the South, which were still fighting for state legislation to support women's suffrage. The final document was entitled How I Have Walked and Worked to Get Those Names, Petitioning and the Women's Suffrage Movement in the United States, 1908 to 1920, by Timothy Verhoeven. The author addresses the successful method of protest in petitioning. During the suffrage movement, petitioning was an effective way for non-voting citizens like women to have their voices heard in the government in an official way. Additionally, petitioning provided much needed education on the movement's goals and events. So this concludes my initial posts. I look forward to having a lot of feedback, and I look forward to listening to everyone else's posts this week. Thank you.